At the end of the day, the reason why we vibe coding applications is so that we could either launch something or make money in some shape or fashion. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can integrate Stripe payments into your application. I'm going to show you how you could connect that to your authentication system and give you the ability to have tiers on your website. So you could have your basic tier, your premium tier, etc. So we actually created a home page in this session, and we have the ability to click on Get Started, where we have our price and tier. We got our basic and our premium price and tier, and I can click on Get Started. When I fill out this application form, behind the scenes, we're going to create a user in our Auth0 system. So we're going to create a user automatically in this platform, and then we're going to send you over to your Stripe payment so that we could create a user in here, collect payments. And when that happens, then we're going to give you the ability to log into your application. So all that happens behind the scenes, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that in this video. We also talk about how to incorporate your startup. So if you're outside of the US and you need to incorporate your startup and get a bank account and all that kind of stuff, we also talk about that in this video. Stick around. The chapters are going to be down in the bottom of the video. So please feel free to jump around if you need to jump to more of the advanced parts, etc. And with that, if you haven't already, join our school community. A link is in the description where you can get very tailored, specific help on building your vibe coded application. And with that, enjoy the video. Welcome, guys. Our focus today is going to be on building multi-tenant application with Stripe. So in the last couple of sessions, we built this sort of streaming platform. And what we did, just to get you up to speed, is we made it so that we have a login system. We use Auth0 in order to have a login system. So we now have a proper login system. Let me just log in with the test credentials here. And then in the last session, what we did is we connected authentication to this particular platform. Okay, so in today's video, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to put a front on it so that we can essentially collect payments. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. Basically, building a multi-tenant application. So in other words, how do you set up an application so that whenever your users sign up for subscription or you need to collect payments on a recurrent basis, how we're going to do that. Now, there's something else that I want to talk about in this particular video, which is how to set up your account for Stripe and get a US bank account, even if you're not in America. And if we're going to be vibe coding to get our application set up for actual launch, we need to know about setting up bank accounts. We need to know about setting up, like making sure that we're collecting taxes and all the other craziness that kind of go on. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, just to be a disclaimer, I'm not a tax expert here. Okay, so we're not going to be going into deep on that, but I want to make sure that everybody kind of understands the core of how to get Stripe going. Okay, that's fantastic. My heart's out to the people that are in Jamaica that got hit by Melissa. That was it was a real pain from what I saw in the videos. So we're going to get Stripe done today. Just for the new people, if you're brand new, we have a community. It's called Vibe Code to Profit. It's brand new, so there's not a lot of stuff happening in it right this minute. We're still working through the details. However, please join and share with me some of the things that you're working on. We got a couple of people that have already done that, but I want to really learn more about you on a more one-on-one level. My goal is that we're going to sit down, we're going to connect with each other. So if you haven't done that, book a call with me, join the community, book a call with me, and we're going to sit down one-on-one, and I'm going to figure out like what are the blockers that are stopping you from building an application, getting like your application launched. So I really want to know more about the people that are joining the call. I got space for 2 more members. After this, we're locking the group down, and then we're going to start charging for stuff because I want to make sure that we only get a certain high quality set of people. We don't want any just random tire kickers. We want people that are actually serious about vibe coding and actually building something profitable. So I'm looking forward for you guys joining the community all together. And like I said, I'm currently working on a couple of courses, more in-depth stuff, things that don't necessarily fit my YouTube channel. For example, how do you set up a profitable company, which is something we're going to talk about today, but in that video, I'm going to go a little more deeper. The other thing I want to do is talk about like, how do you get investors? What are the things that investors look for? Because when I was a novice to this stuff, one of the problems that I ran into is I had this notion that if I just had an idea, some investor out there would think it's a great idea and just give me money. And boy, was I wrong about that. I was completely wrong about the process of just doing live thing of getting money. Yeah, so the goal is that in today's video, we're going to talk about that. Join the community. We got space for 2 more members. After that, we're going to lock it down. And I just want to hyper focus on the people that are in there. One-on-one calls, coaching sessions. I want to basically help to solve your problem as fast as possible. The goal is not promotion. The goal is basically focus on this. All right. So today we're going to be doing this. One of the things we're going to talk about. So number one is we're going to set up a sort of architecture for multi-tenancy, because that's something that we have to do. If we're going to accept payments, we need to be able to accept payments for a company and then have individual users join that company, but still not be in charge. So that's something we need to think about today. And then we got a few other things to think about in terms of making sure that if the user cancels payments, that we're going to be able to cancel them properly, send a refund, all that type of stuff, right? So that's the deal. So there's going to be lots of stuff, and I'm going to try to go through it in this order. I'm not going through this slide in any kind of real detail, but we're going to try to get to the core, which is number one, foundation setup. So basically getting all the core, getting the API. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about CloudFlare. We'll talk about how we can get CloudFlare set up properly. We're going to do webhooks of how data comes back into chat. Enough talking. Let us go build this application. So anybody that's in here that has not done any single thing with Stripe before, jump in and let me know. And we're going to talk about that in a bit. 1 second. I'm doing something different today. And yeah, it might just go into 0. So 0. So round 1 has never done anything with Stripe before. Okay, so let's do this. Let's start from the top. First thing we're going to talk about is Stripe Atlas, which is a hidden service that most people don't know about. Okay, so if you're not in the US, this is the thing that you need to know about if you're dealing with Stripe and you want to set up a US company. That's the key word here. And actually, Ramon, you're in the Caribbean, so I wanted to actually touch on this point, which is if you're in the Caribbean, see, let me pull it up while I talk here. If you're in the Caribbean and you want to actually accept credit cards and have that money deposit to your local bank account in the Caribbean, there's lots of hoops that you have to go through to get that done. And to my knowledge, most of the Caribbean islands, this is changing slowly. So take this with a grain of salt. When I tried this, it was like 15 years ago. And the last I checked, it still wasn't a thing, but it's starting to become a thing now. So take that with a grain of salt. In fact, I actually had a conversation with Stripe recently about this, and they're interested in working with me to solve this problem. I've been very deep on the back end talking with the guys at Stripe on this here, because it's something that's really important to me. But anybody that's not in North America, one of the biggest challenges that you have with accepting credit card is collecting payments. There's a few companies that are online now that will allow you to accept payments and stuff like that properly from companies altogether. But for the most part, if you haven't accepted credit card before, in like with a company, try to put it to your local bank account is the problem. I'm curious, what kind of payment processors have you used before? Sticker, text. What type of payment processor have you used before, Ramon? I'm curious, which one? Sticker, what is it? Jeez, I don't even know how to do this. If you're on TikTok and you're trying to think, I'm live streaming on YouTube. This is my first time on TikTok, so I don't even know what's going on here, to be honest with you. But check out my bio. You can go to my YouTube link and you can join me on the live stream there. Ramon, I'm curious on what you are having things. Okay, let's do this. So here's what we're going to do. So first of all, Stripe Atlas, let's just talk about this kind of thing. And I'm going to do it at the high level first, and then we'll go into details. And then 1 second question as well, too. Are you guys able to see the screen much better? Because I changed the resolution so that you can see me a little bit better, see it things a little bit better. Okay, so let's do this. Come on, what's going on here? Hang on 1 second here. Let me just try to log in. By the way, did you guys see Microsoft had a huge outage this week? Massive outage this week here. Did anybody see that? Oh, Caribbean and Visa. So 5.3. Sorry, I'm just logging in. Caribbean and VisaNet. Okay, interesting. I'm actually curious about those guys. Never heard of CARDNET and VISANET. No, Portal Dom, he said. DOM. Interesting. Got you. That's interesting. In a different language. So I don't think I've seen Cardinet for sure. Definitely haven't seen these guys. No question about it. Okay, so these are probably like local to your region maybe. So it'll be interesting to see. I'll actually look into those companies because I'm curious about them as well too. Let's talk about setting up an actual company if you're outside of the US. If you're in the US, this doesn't apply to you. So you'll just have to skip over this part, okay? A couple things altogether. Number one is, if you're setting up a company, you have a few options. First of all, you're going to use Stripe Atlas, okay? So if you're setting up a company, let's pretend that this is your company, okay? Let's pretend that this is you. And you're setting up a company. This is your company here. as a building, represented as a building, okay? The first thing is that you obviously need to incorporate it in the country. So we're going to put this as your country here, okay? This is your country. You need to register it with local officials, okay? You get some paperwork and you set up your company. Everybody knows this, but I just want to level set for the people that have never done any of this type of stuff before. So that's a normal procedure. Then once you do that, then you're going to get a bank account with a local company. We're going to put green for a bank account. And once you get a local bank account, then you're able to get a merchant account. We're going to put purple for the merchant account. That merchant account, it traditionally has been tied to the bank. So a lot of the banks have their sort of separate processor that they work with. In Canada, the biggest one is Moneris. But anyway, there's tons of these merchants around, and they work with the bank to be able to accept credit cards on behalf of the bank, etc. The problem with that is that in order for you to do that, let's say that you have your website here, okay? Number one is you have to go apply to a merchant provider in order to get approval. And number two is they have to basically ensure that you meet all of the regulatory requirements to be able to store credit card data inside of your website. And number three is that then once they process that credit card, then basically that information will go and deposit the money in your actual bank account, right? Those are all the steps. This is traditionally how this was done. The problem with this entire approach is that it's way too complicated. I remember I've done this like probably about 15 or 20 times for like multiple different companies. And this always becomes a problem. If you're on TikTok, go join me on YouTube on my main channel. I'm live on YouTube. So this has been a problem. And that's the one thing that forever has just like, it's just, if you're not a big enough company, if you didn't have all of the proper sort of corporate type of paperwork, you just get denied. So as a result, up until I'd say maybe 2010 or something like that. Before that, it was chaotic. PayPal had a solution. They bought a company called, what was the name of that company? Anyway, there was Net. There was a few other these companies, but they all suffered from one problem, which is you had to basically apply for this merchant account in order to get approval. And it was just way too complicated. It was just too much of a problem. Ramon, you're agreeing with me. That's exactly it was just too complicated of an issue. So because of that, most people just never accept credit cards or whatever. So here comes along Stripe, okay? So Stripe says, hey, actually, let's put Stripe in green, okay? Stripe is going to be the new bank, okay? And Stripe just says, listen, you, Ramon or Dwayne or whoever, just come straight to me and you just log in. That's it. You just log in on Stripe and just tell us where your bank account is pointing. So in this particular case, my bank account is here. You just tell me where your bank account is, and we're going to deposit money straight into your bank account. We're going to be the merchant, so you don't have to worry about that. We're going to do all the security, so you don't have to store the information in your database. And we're going to store all the customer details, and we're going to deal with all the compliance. And that's a win here. That's what Stripe gives you. And if you're new to this and you've never had to deal with all these problems before, like you can't even understand the amount of headaches that is required in getting a payment processor set up. And more importantly, Stripe made it developer friendly. Okay, so that's the key. So the biggest difference here is that Stripe is developer friendly for the developers around. Okay, again, if you're on TikTok, on my YouTube, and you could see me on live stream there. So that's basically what Stripe has done. Now, this is all good if you're in North America, okay? If you're in North America, there's absolutely no problems with this. You just set it up, you just go to your account. You still got to do your corporation, that's fine. You still got to get a bank account. But once you set up a Stripe account, that's it. You just tell Stripe, this is my bank account, and Stripe will collect the money all day long, and they'll deal with the refunds and all that kind of stuff. And then whatever is left over, they'll put it to your bank, and they'll just take a cut of their fees. Normally, that fee is a if you're just a regular person joining for the very first time, is 2.9%, okay, percent fee, plus a 30 cents transaction fee, okay? That's a standard fee for Stripe altogether, okay? Now, if you're a high volume and you're doing lots and lots of volume, you could get that down to 2.5 or something like that, or maybe even lower negotiated. But for most regular people, which is pretty much everybody on this call, that's where you're taking. Now, if you're outside of North America, this is the part that I want to talk about. If you're outside of North America, there's still a problem with this picture, which is Stripe does not deposit money to every bank account across the entire globe. In fact, if I pull up the list here, what are the supported countries for Stripe? Okay. Stripe. Not every country. See, they only support 46 countries. Okay, which is really main ones for it. So these are the main countries, and then they have a list of the other countries. Let's see, Dominican Republic. So let's see if they support Dominican Republic. Didn't find any information. No. Okay. I'm curious, who else is in here? The bottom line is that if you're trying to accept credit cards for other countries outside of this, you start to get into problems with Stripe altogether. That's why I'm having this conversation, because one, I'm from the Caribbean. I know this problem very well. And two, what I'm showing you guys today is how to actually set this up properly for if you're to set up a US company. Okay, so with that out of the way, here's what Stripe has decided to do on top of this. They recognize that not everybody is able to they can't deposit money to everybody's bank account in any country because of regulatory restrictions and politics is how we will describe it, okay? So what they've done, if they've set up a new system, and this is what we're going to talk about in a bit here, and it's called Stripe at Last. So Stripe at Last, okay? So what is Stripe at Last? So you, whoever you are outside of North America, come and you register with Stripe at Last. And what Stripe at Last will do is Stripe at Last will basically get you registered with a company. Okay. Normally that company is a Delaware company. We'll talk about why that's a Delaware company in a bit. Okay. So they set up a Delaware company. That's number one. Once they set up a Delaware company, they're going to file all of the regulatory paperwork with you in the US. So this is for US, right? They're going to set this up for you. And essentially what they do is they act as a proxy. The second thing that they're going to do for you is they're going to give you an EIN number. So is EIN number. When setting up a new Stripe at Last company, do they give you an EIN number? Yeah. Okay. So EIN number, right? Yes. As stands for Employee Identifier Number. Okay. This is the key here. Okay. So most people don't know that if you're outside of America, you can actually get an EIN number. I have an EIN number for America. I'm a Canadian. I don't have an American passport. I have family in America, but I don't have an American passport. But I do have an EIN number. It essentially allows you to file taxes and pay taxes in America. That's what's important here. Okay. So Stripe figures this out in the back end and they get you an EIN number. Okay. And then with that EIN number, they get you a corporation filled out in your name, okay? Acting as Stripe is call it like the shell company that is basically sponsoring you, okay? And then the only thing that with that information, what you can do now is you can go get your bank account in the US, and I'll talk about how to get that in a bit, okay? You can get your bank account in a bit. And the only single thing that's required to get this all set up is $500. Not $1,000, not $2,000. Imagine if you're paying a lawyer for all of this craziness, how much money and how much effort it would actually take to be able to get that done. Stripe will do that for you 100%. If you guys are on TikTok, go to my YouTube, go to my bio in my YouTube. You'll see me live on YouTube. That's where we're talking about all the Stripe stuff and payments and all this thing. So with this, you can now set up your company, get your entire thing paid and the whole 9 yards. And then from there, have a real company that you can start doing transactions with Stripe. Okay, because now you could go back and get yourself a Stripe account and they'll deposit it into the local company. So the two best companies that I can tell you to use is, wait for it, Brex. Okay, actually this is probably the best one I would recommend. So Brex will allow you to get a bank account in the US once you have an EIN number. Silicon Valley Bank. Yeah, there was a bank run. This is for people in America, and yeah, people pulled out their money and the company, they got saved and all that. But since then, I don't think they're really as popular. And plus, honestly, they were a traditional bank. This bank here is a modern bank that has all the modern cool stuff. You could create virtual credit cards and stuff like that. You could get a virtual credit card, and whenever Stripe deposits money into your bank account, you could go spend that money, buy stuff online with that virtual, because they'll give you a physical card as well too. Yeah, so hopefully that's been helpful. So that's what Stripe at Last. Okay, if you guys have never heard of it, this is something that if you're serious about setting up a real company for America, this is basically what you do. And see, they got some big names here. Even Lovable went through their process, which is crazy, right? $500, look at it, right? Yeah. So now interesting, am I on the right page? Yes, Stripe at Last, incorporate, start your incorporation here. So incorporate 1,000 US, blah, 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 charge. Yeah, no, interesting to charge your customers for free. So you know what, they might be making some changes because before it would actually say $500, but it seemed like they're just basically just letting you create a Stripe account now and just getting that entire thing set up. So yeah, not really certain how that's done, but nonetheless, that's the process. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. If you got some value from that, put a 1 in the chat. And then we're going to switch over to the actual Stripe part. When I was first trying to set up a company in the US, there was one, I was like, how do you set up a company? What do you do? Yeah, and we've actually done that. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's pretend for a second now you've done that. Oh, I didn't mention the Delaware part. So the reason why they do Delaware is because Delaware has one of the most favorable sort of tax structure for your company. Okay, so that they don't do taxes and stuff like that in the standard way. In fact, most companies are in Delaware. So like I said, most people don't know about it. Number one, predictable tax law. Now that's a little iffy because Elon Musk had some problems with Delaware recently, and there's some new changes that's happening here. But these are the big ones. No sales tax. That's why they do it in Delaware. No state, no corporate income tax outside of the earned outside of the state. So in other words, you don't have to pay taxes, right? And then low franchise startup fees. So basically the only single thing that you have to do after this is you just have to pay a yearly fee to keep it up. And I think it's, what do we pay? I think it's like $120 a year to be able to keep the corporation at bay. And so most companies, any single company that's come from YC, you know, all those YC companies, you guys know Y Combinator, right? But yeah, so all YC companies, most of them go through this process because it's super easy for investors and all that kind of stuff. So if you're trying to actually get investors from the US, this is by far the way to go, because number one, that $500 take care of an investor in America will invest in your company. One, because it's an American company. That's number one. And number two, it's following all American rules. And then they can actually put money to your account like right away without having to deal with international tax issues and all this kind of craziness. So yeah, that's the reason why you want to do this. I'm glad that you're getting value out of this, everyone. And this is super important. Okay, so with that, let's go to the next part of our conversation, which is setting up Stripe. Assuming that you did all of that, you would have a Stripe. I'm going to definitely check out those ones that you sent me there, Ramon. Yeah. Okay. So what are we going to do? First of all, we're going to sign in here. Did I not? Hang on. I already got this signed in somewhere. Where are you? No, that's not it. Multi-tenancy. Keeping track of all this stuff. Okay. So sign in. Switch to foil that sandbox account. Okay. There we go. Okay, here's my sandbox account. Okay, all right. So what we're gonna do is once you got a Stripe account set up and you've already done all of the work to get things going. Yeah. So once you get set up on Stripe, okay, once you got all your pieces going and you actually got a Stripe account set up, the basics are simple. You got your customers, right? So we're gonna create one test customer. In fact, let's just do it right now. So we're gonna say Dwayne test. And if they have a name, you put it inside of there. So we'll call it vibe code VOD101. Okay. And then email address, we'll put Dwayne on plus 00001. Okay. Because we're going to use that as a test account. And there, I got my first customer. That's the beauty about Stripe, is that it just takes away all of the craziness, all of the, just every single thing that you need to do about like setting up a company and all this kind of stuff. It just handles it in the background. It's just beautiful. Now, I want to talk about one other thing about Stripe that is important. There's other companies that are coming online. For example, POL. This company, I keep seeing a lot of things about them. And they claim to, one, make the process even easier. Okay, I'm going to talk about this very briefly just because it's important. If you're new to Stripe and you've never really dealt with Stripe and you see all these other companies coming up, what's the difference? When you accept money from Stripe, you are responsible for paying the tax, aka you the company, okay? You the corporation, whoever, you're responsible for paying the taxes. Stripe has a couple of tools that you could use to figure out what type of taxes you're paying. However, the problem with that is that you have to figure things out. So there's a new sort of set of merchants that are coming online. Polar is one of them. The other one is Lemon Squeezy, SQUEEZY, Lemon Squeezy, and a few others that are coming online, okay? And their thought process is that they're better than Stripe in the sense that they handle all the taxes for you. So you don't have to like deal with all the taxes, because one of the problems that you're getting into with accepting credit or payments is that for each state, there's different taxes in different countries, and it just gets complicated. So what these guys do is they take care of all that for you. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because it's just so you guys will be aware of it. But more importantly, there is a sort of a heftier fee. So you notice Stripe is 2.9%. This is 5%. And I think Polar is, if I don't remember correctly, I think Polar is 4% or something like that. Let me see here. This product subscription doesn't say, but if I remember correctly, oh yeah, here 4% plus 40-cent transaction fee. So these guys are coming to be like the cheapest kind of deal, but for the most part, you pay more because they handle all of the tax remittance and all that kind of stuff. That's the only reason you might want to go with somebody like this. Personally, prefer Stripe. I think it's just a phenomenal platform, and it's not too complicated. And truth is, if you really want to use those other products, you can. The biggest reason why I like Stripe, this is the biggest reason why I like Stripe, is if you're doing a SaaS company and you want to have a multi-tier process where you're collecting money on behalf of somebody else. So a good example of this is Uber. You guys know Uber. So, Uber is a company that does rideshare. Okay. When you pay as a customer, let's say you're going from, I'm in Canada. So I'm going down to Toronto, Oakville right now. I'm going to Toronto, right? A half an hour trip. I open up the Uber app and I make a payment. That money goes to Uber, processed through Stripe. And then what happens is Uber will take, let's say, 40% of the money, and then they will give the driver the rest. So if you're doing any kind of three-way type of payment processing where you're doing like a payout, right? Stripe has something called Stripe Connect. This is the most popular tool on the market for this stuff, Stripe Connect. And it deals with taking care of that payment processing challenge, etc. The driver, aka the Uber driver, they can just log into their Stripe Connect account. They don't do this with Uber, but I'm just giving you as an example. They can log into their Stripe Connect account and they'll be able to see how much money they made without you as a developer having to think about all that stuff. So that's the reason why I think Stripe is just phenomenal. Most of these other companies don't necessarily handle some of these use cases. Stripe Connect is by far one of the most underrated feature of Stripe, I think, because things like DoorDash, Uber, any of these companies where there's payouts, where the company collects the money and then they pay it out to the person that's doing the actual work, Stripe Connect is bar none the best thing in place. And the good news is that once you have a Stripe account, it's super easy for you to add on these little add-ons. So that's the reason why you'd want to do that for sure. All right. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this TikTok thing. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, what we're going to try to do now is we're going to create a product. So with Stripe, the number one thing that you have to do is you have to create a product in order to be able to process a card. So what are those products for our application that is going to do subscription payments? Okay, so let's do this and let's do this. So here, let's start right away. So for my front end, I need you to create a home page so that potential users could sign up for my application. They're going to need to go to the payments page in order to get started, and that'll get them to the sign up page to be able to process. And we're going to have two tiers. We're going to have a basic tier, and then we'll have a premium tier. And the basic tier, let's do it at $29 per month. And then the premium tier, we're going to do it at $69 per month. And then we'll do a yearly plan as well too. The yearly plan will have a 20% discount on both of them. So set that up for me, get me the pricing page, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so while that's being done in the background, I'm trying to think of how to you know what I'm going to do? Let's do this. So we're going to vibe code that while thinking about, there we go. Okay, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm trying, just so you guys know what I'm doing. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm just trying to put up a sign here for the people that are on this. Is that backwards? Maybe it is. I don't know if it's backwards. How to do that. We got to do that properly. This was a bad idea. I will be the first to say that this was a bad idea. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Just bear with me for 1 second. Okay, so you could do that, and then you could hopefully see that. Yeah. So with that, okay, so now that we got this page vibe coded, let's do something else while we're doing that. We're going to get our two payments page coming up, okay? So let's jump back into, where's my mouse now? Jesus, Brad, where's my mouse? Okay, there we go. And let me make this full screen. Really? Full screen. Oh, there we go. Entire screen. Okay, there we go. Okay, so while it's being vibe coded, let's just talk about how we're going to set this up so that at least everybody's on the page. Because Stripe is, how would I describe it? There's a few moving parts to Stripe. Let's do it lucid. All right. So there's a bit of a dance with Stripe. Okay. So you have your payments page or your subscription page. Okay. That's number one. Number two is you have to have a sign up page. So we know that we did that last week. Okay. Once you finish signing up, you're going to store that information in the database. So you're going to basically have your sign up stored in your database. Okay. So that's straightforward. We have this done. Right now we're using CloudFlare KV. So you have CloudFlare go in, and CloudFlare KV is what we're using to store our sign up process. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're bringing Stripe into the picture. So this is Stripe. Now we don't have a Stripe thingy. Let's just put a gear for Stripe. Should be a money icon, but we'll go with a gear. Okay. So what do we need to do? First of all, we need to tell Stripe the products that we're going to have. So products, let's just go with a box. So Stripe you might have product one. No, not what we want. We want one of these guys here. Let's call it product one. Okay. In Stripe. Then you have product two, product one, product two, okay? Then you're gonna set a price. Let's say product one is, what did we say, $69? And product one is $29 per month, right? subscription. Okay, so we create those products in Stripe. And then what we do is when we get to our products page, so let's put this as this guy here. So we got our sign up, we got our database. Now we're going to get our products page, or let's call it our pricing page. Your pricing page will have all of the products, and what it's going to do is basically going to link to, it's going to have a link or a reference to those products. So it's going to have a link to your pricing page products, the products that you created in Stripe. That's the important part. So this way, whenever somebody signs up, the link will basically say, hey, we're using product 1 or we're using product 2 from Stripe. And then that will take you over to, we're doing this I'm going to call it the semi-easy way here. So it's not fully complex because Stripe has multiple different ways of doing things. This will take you to a Stripe page, right? And the ID that's being passed is the product ID, PRDUCT ID. Everybody with me so far? Okay. Now, after the user pays on Stripe, oops. Yeah, okay. You guys can see that. Yeah. After the user pay, right? We need some kind of confirmation. So basically what we need is we need to route back to an API that's going to basically confirm payment, webhook. Okay. Confirm. Okay. So that's the dance. So Stripe is going to call a webhook. This webhook here will take in the confirmation, says, okay, no problem. And then what it's going to do is should go back and update the user in the database. Everybody with me? Okay. So it's like a couple of dance, right? You got to create a product, number one. You got to create a Stripe account. Sorry, you create a Stripe account. Obviously, you got to create the products in Stripe. And then when you create your pricing page, you're going to link out to the products page so that whenever you click on that button and it redirects you over to Stripe, Stripe knows which product it needs to charge for and what the pricing should be and all that kind of stuff. And then whenever Stripe goes through with the payment, Stripe will then give you a confirmation to say, hey, every single thing is good. You can do whatever you need to do with the user, which in this particular case just basically means enable the user to be able to upload videos or upload more videos depending on the plan that they have. We won't go into too much details around like setting up the different tiers and all that kind of stuff because I think that'll just be too complex for a Vibe Coding 101 app. But for the most part, that's what we're going to be doing. I have no idea. Can I do a background? No. Okay. Let's go check out our Vibe coded thing. Okay. So we have ourselves a landing page, your corporate video platform. Great. Streamline your corporate video platform. Manage, upload, manage, and share videos across your organization. Built is similar to how Google Payments and Revenue Cat work. Yes, 100%. Yes. Revenue Cats, Google Payments, pretty much the exact same thing. The only difference is Stripe gives you a lot more control. Now, there is one level up from this, which I should talk about, just at least so you guys are aware of it. It's not relevant to this conversation. So right now, what's going to happen is we're going to send people over to a Stripe page. Okay, which means that we're going to send people to a page that kind of looks like this. They look like this, right? You've seen it before. Now that's I'm going to call it it's now becoming more standard, but I'm still going to call it the poor man's version of Stripe integration. If you really wanted to do this and keep things seamless, you would basically have the Stripe portal on your own application. The truth is that's becoming less common. So Stripe gives you actually a bunch of SDKs that you could actually embed accepting credit cards on your platform and you never leave and go to Stripe. In the past, it used to be frowned upon to do it this way, where you have to go to a third party to do payments and then come back to you and stuff. But in today's world, it's pretty much acceptable, at least from my thing. I think even OpenAI and these big guys, that's how they do it. And I actually believe now, because Stripe is so big, it actually creates trust because everybody sees that Stripe is the one that's collecting the payment, not some random Joe Blow website on the internet that they've never seen before, right? So there's only very few reasons why you might want to go one level deeper than this, which is if you have a really large corporation and you want the whole branding to be 100% controlled by your company, then you would use the Stripe sort of components to build your payment processing page and all that kind of stuff, right? Great. Okay, so we got our fantastic. So 500 plus companies trusted by 500 companies. We don't even have one company on this application right now, but nonetheless, yes. View pricing. Okay, so we got our pricing page, right? We got our $29 per month. I get to. By the way, Revenue Cat is actually a good platform. Revenue Cat, right? I actually don't know what their pricing plans are. They're pretty good, actually. So up to 2,000, what's this? 1% of MTR. use all features for free in months when you earn less than $2,500 in monthly track revenue. Yeah, what's their selling point? Is it, how come they have OpenAI? I thought OpenAI was using Stripe for sure, but built for free. But I don't know what that looks like, because if you're doing more than this here, I'm being honest with you, any single company where they show me free and then they show me enterprise, I just don't even bother. Because one of the problems that I found with them is that you end up having to negotiate to get good pricing, because suddenly they want to charge you for all kinds of craziness. Yeah, I actually don't know. So I haven't actually implemented Revenue Cat in any single way, but I know that they're good in terms of integration and some of the things that they're doing. The thing that like I said, from a payment standpoint, and see here, they got a lot of simple ways for integration. So they've heavily doubled down on the developer side, but this bothers me, right? If any single thing less than $2,500, you're saying that it's free, but then when I go over that, suddenly I'm an enterprise customer. That bothers me. So I tend to back down from that kind of stuff. But yeah, good to know. Okay, we have our page. We got a yearly, we got a monthly, we got a 20% savings. Oh, hang on a second. We can't click on these buttons. Why not? Don't know how to click on these buttons. So we need the monthly or yearly options are not working. We need to be able to toggle in between the two. All right, so we got our page. So what we're going to do now, when we click on this, right? See here, it's prompting me to sign up, continue, and pay, right? So here's the deal. We got a couple options. Remember, I think last week we talked about the Stripe and the ability to register on your own website and then send that information over to Xero, okay? This is where that comes in. The benefit of doing this is you don't have to send the user in multiple different directions. Now, the question is, do we want to do that? What do you guys think? So we do it this way, let them sign up here and then get them to go. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. We're gonna sign up that way. If you guys are on my TikTok, just go to my YouTube. That's basically where we're at. We're on YouTube streaming. Go to my link in the bio. We're streaming Vibe Coding 101. Here, this is my, I don't know if you can see that properly. Yeah, I think it's reversed. The camera might be flipped. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it the right way. Okay, so that's one. So the second thing that we need to do is we need to go into Stripe and we need to create those accounts. So we're going to create a $69 per month and we're going to create a $29 per month plan. Although we two are watching. Sorry, what's that? Sorry, although we two are watching. Not certain what I mean. What do you mean by that? I think, but we will make it one day. I think I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying now. You're basically saying that we got a really small channel. I got 4 people on YouTube and it says 4 people in TikTok. Or by the way, TikTok, if you want to know what the hell we're talking about, go on my YouTube profile and you'll see what we're talking about. We're doing vibe coding. I have no idea how to use things. So this is just my experiment trying to figure out how to do things. But if you are with me, that's fine, because like I said, probably publish a recording, then more people will see it. So let's go create our product. So we're going to come in here, we're going to create the product catalog, we're going to go to product, and remember we're going to say basics. What do we call it? We call it basic. Let's call it, get rid of some of these. Let's go back. So we call it basic and premium, right? Basic and premium. So we got basic. Okay. So let's say that, what would be the feature difference between the two? Do we even have a feature difference? Oh, what do we get? Up to 50 videos. Yeah. Unlimited videos. Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So basic tier will get up to 50 videos and it's going to be one quantity and the price will be recurrent. No, it's going to be, recurrent, and it's going to be $29. And we're going to say US because that's just the global currency. And we're going to do monthly. Then we got a couple options here that we won't necessarily go into. Description, lookup key, none of that kind of stuff. Yeah. Okay, so we got our first product, $29 a month, basic. Then we're going to create a second one. And we're going to call it, what do we call it here? Premium. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to call it premium. Premium will allow unlimited streaming. Okay, and that's $69 per month. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so we got that. Now we can do the yearly and we can do the discount and all that kind of stuff. You guys get the idea. We're just push through on at least getting this going. Okay, good. So what do you need now? You need 2 things. You need and you click into the basics. You're going to click on this little, not this option here. You're going to click on, where is it? Here. Okay. And then you're going to copy payment link. See that? So create payment link. Here we go. Okay. That payment link is one of the things that we need. So we're just going to, let me just put this in a text file for now because we'll need this for our YouTube or for our thing. Okay. So we got payment link for basic. So this is basic payment link. And we need one more. Actually, you know what? While I'm here, we need also, what's the other one? Basic payment link is fine. We're going to go back over, come on, exit and products again, premium, click on this guy. Oh, actually, you know what? We do need the ID. Actually, the ID, we'll have the ID in thing, but we'll need this ID as well too. So Yeah, we'll need that ID. Product. So premium. Okay. Stripe product ID and the link. I got to go back and get the premium for the other one as well too. Basic product ID. Okay. So that's the product ID for that, for the basic. And then I just got to get the payment link for the premium. Okay. So this is the easiest way to do this. What am I doing? Why do I keep clicking in the wrong place? Click here and then copy payment link. Copy payment link. Okay, so we just need these two, right? Because we got to link those two to our thing. If you're in TikTok, go to my YouTube. You'll be able to see what we're talking about. Vibe coding 101 lessons here, right? So copy that, go to here, and then we're going to say, I've created the products in Stripe already. So can you hook up the page to use these payment links to send it over to Stripe? And also, we're going to have to put in the, oh no, the webhook we're going to do in the backend. So hang on a second. Sorry, I should payment link. So hook up the Stripe payment link. There we go. Okay. So we're going to put those payment links. Those payment links are going to be able to get us where we click on the get started. Because when it passes over, see here is passing the plan. And on this page here, will basically, when you click on the create to continue to payments, it's going to send it over to Stripe. So we're going to just ignore this part. We're going to test the Stripe part first, and then we're going to come back to this here and try to link them all together. Okay. So hopefully you guys are getting some value. We're 2 people inside of here, so very limited people today. That's okay. We're going to push through. That's our goal. Go to my YouTube, guys. If you're on TikTok, go to my YouTube. I'm just learning TikTok, so I don't really know much about it. So I just started. So Vibe coding 101. I should write that on a piece of paper. Okay. So while this is going, are you getting what I'm saying? Any questions on this? Vibe coding 101. Oh, Jesus, terrible marker. Jeez, terrible marker on. So go to my YouTube. Yes, everything is clear. Mr. Rodman, I appreciate you giving me some feedback. Thank you. Okay, so we're waiting on the thing to build. While that's happening, let's see. I had some notes on what are the other things that we need to cover. Yeah, so the good thing about Stripe altogether, while I'm loading stuff here, is it's just pretty straightforward. Like there's no complicated stuff. In fact, I think Stripe has been like the de facto standard. Most people kind of copy Stripe as we've played Revenue Cat and Google and all these other guys have copied what they have done because they've done their Stuart, which is one of the co-founders, is heavily developer focused, like very developer focused, and you could tell just in the way that they did things. Okay, Stripe products pricing, so front end checkout flow path. Okay, webhooks source of truth, right? Okay, so we got to do the webhook part now. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our backend now. Did we finish with this? By the way, guys, there's some new features that are coming to VS Code, which is this agent thing. So we could do multiple agents. You can have multiple agents going at once. I haven't really gotten into it, but I think it's just cool because I could see here, I could create a chat. Look at this. In fact, you know what? Maybe we'll try it. Let's try it. So if you come into the agents thing, I'm on the developer preview, by the way. So if you come in here and we can do a new chat. So we'll just do a new chat here. So we're going to say, what is it for the backend? So we need to do a webhook backend for Stripe. So we need to create a webhook backend to take the Stripe information and process the webhook to make sure that we can update the payments properly. So add this as a API endpoint on the backend so that we can then update our KV for our profile or user profile. Okay, so what we need to do is we basically just need to set up this webhook here, and this webhook will be responsible for updating the KV store, right? Key value store, CloudFlare. We talked about that last week. Last of my days of my premium requests, 95% this month. Oh, you're 95% on your premium, eh? Interesting. You know what? I'm curious to know how much I use. Let's see. I think I looked at it yesterday, actually. Normally when I run out of credits, I'll just go on the insider and then it just continues working. I don't know why, but I don't even ask questions anymore. It's too funny. So if you click on this, yeah, so here you go. Oh, look at that. Premium request, 100%. 100%. So if I go to manage paid premium requests, yeah, here, I'm chewing up. I'm on my extra budget for the month. So we're going over already. And you know what? I actually noticed that it's much slower. I noticed that it's much, much slower than before. Wait, what's going on here? Okay, let's see what we got. 95%. Yeah, don't chew up those credits, man. They're precious. Right. So on this vibe coding, this is the cool thing that you could do. So while this is going, I can keep spinning up multiple. That's what they're doing. They're making this a whole lot easier. The cool thing is this is my local chat, right? So right now I have 2 local chats going. Is that what it is? Let's just close this one here. I could just keep spinning up more and it just keeps opening them up in new tabs, which is cool because I could do that and then I could switch over to Codex or GPT-5 or GPT, right? Whichever one. You could do that and then continue. I could keep opening up multiple tabs, which is cool. And then you could also do this remotely as well too. And you could do this in the GitHub Cloud Agent. And you could do it in the GitHub CLI. It's confusing what they're doing, but what they're really trying to do is have a centralized home for all the different agents that you're running. Go ahead and start with experimenting with multiple agents. That's right. They're adding multiple agents. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to experiment on trying to run these things in parallel. I haven't been doing that much lately because the truth is I want to stay in control of the code a little bit more, right? But now that I feel that I have a good enough grasp on what the model will do and what the model won't do, I'm letting it go a little bit more wild. Oh, actually, I got a tip for you guys to share. So I found out as GitHub Copilot keep prompting you over and over for just the same thing over and over. Permission to run local stuff, permission for this, permission that. It's really annoying, right? I found out where it's at. Preference. Hang on. Why? There we go. So I go here and then I just click on this guy here and then I click on chat settings. That'll take me directly to the settings for chat. So if you scroll all the way down, where is it? Where is it? Wait for it. Here. Is it this one? No, not this one. Come on. Notify me on confirmation. Attachment, send attachment. Come on. Where are you, buddy? Where are you? Auto approve. Here. No, that's not it. Sorry. Here. Chat controls weather, terminal. Oh, it's right. It's wrong here. Come on. Where is it? It's something. It says global in it. This one. YOLO. So tools, global, auto approve, experimental. Check. This will just like this. I find it so annoying that it just keeps prompting me on the same thing. Should I run this? Should I run this? Listen, we live in Git world. Okay. If we make a mistake, we can roll back. So I don't need an approval for every single thing. Just do your stuff so I can walk away from the computer, go grab me a cup of coffee, right? We can sit down and we could drink for a little bit and then I could come back and just tell me when you're done, right? I've just found that so annoying. This is the only feature that truly actually makes it usable. So if you want to YOLO, okay, you only live once, go right ahead. Disclaimer, I did not tell you to press that button. So come back and tell me Dwayne said to do that. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got a bunch of code. I don't even know where we are right now. I'm all over the place today. So keep, okay, so what did we change? So we created a Stripe webhook. Fantastic. Let's just talk through this webhook here because this is important. This is important for the people that don't really know much about what's going on. So with Stripe, okay, a couple things we got to do. Number one is we need a secret. This webhook is a public URL. This is really important for security purposes, okay? This webhook that you put in here is public, all right? So one of the problems is because it's a public webhook, anybody could send data to it, okay? So you need a way to secure it, but still keep it public. In other words, you need to be able to verify that the data that's coming is from Stripe. And the way how you do that is you put basically a secret key. You put a secret key, and that secret key you get from Stripe. So Stripe will send that secret key every time to you. You're going to basically go check your local config, right? And you're going to check your KV, make sure that you have that key. If the key is valid, then you basically will allow the data to go in. Very important, okay? Do not mess that up, all right? Because it's super important, okay? I've been using TikTok. I've been using it for a while, but I just saw randomly, they're like, oh, you could go live now. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll try to go live. And sure enough, that's what I'm doing. But I keep seeing random people logging into TikTok. They're like, what is this guy talking about? Because they can't see the screen. And I actually tried downloading the TikTok app, the Studio app. And it was like, first of all, way too complicated. Secondly, it requires me going to my Windows computer, which is all the way over there. My streaming computer is a Mac computer. So I'm like, forget it. Just so I can learn in real time, right? Listen, I'm all about trial and error of stuff. Maybe in a year from now, I'll be like a true professional. But the one thing I love is just experiment as I go along. And my brain is doing like 100 things at once because I'm trying to talk to you guys. I'm trying to see these people on TikTok or whatever the deal is. My stream is just, we got 2 people on the stream right now. So we're all over the place, but that's cool because that's the whole goal is to learn, right? And these calls are being recorded. We're going to chop them up. We're going to put them out on YouTube. So even if you don't watch the live stream, you will be able to see something at some point, and that's okay, right? Yeah. But it's just funny. And I'm definitely not going to mess with my streaming setup right now because I know there was a way for you to like add additional sources and all this kind of stuff. But I was like, yeah, no, too much for my brain today. Too much overload. Anyway, where are we at? We got our Stripe we got a key value here. We got to get that secret. So we're gonna configure that secret. We're gonna put it as a webhook not configured, skip and miss authentication. Right. So we need this webhook secret. So where do we get this from? Let's go back to our Stripe. Let's just bring these tabs in here so we don't have to keep jumping around. Payment links. No, not this one. By the way, these payment links, this is what we're going to send us over to this URL here, right? It's going to look like this. And of course, you got to put in your logo and all that kind of stuff. But we're in a sandbox account right now. Yeah. So I have to put the webhook, and I actually forgot where to get the webhook from. We'll find out in 2 seconds here. Webhooks, there we go. Create test webhook. Okay. So we could do a couple things. We can get a little fancy. I don't know if I want to do that, but we'll find. But maybe let's try it. We can go to CloudFlare. Who knows about CloudFlare tunnels? Anybody? CloudFlare tunnels? Let me see if I could actually. I might not set it up. We'll see. Bear with me for 1 second here. Just trying to log into. What we want to do is we want to set. So CloudFlare tunnels is a way for us to be able to accept HTTP requests from the public internet and then route it down to our local computer. And if you guys have ever heard that before, I don't want to co-host. I don't want to co-host anything. See 4 people inside of there. Go to my YouTube, guys. YouTube, you'll be able to see where we are, what we're doing. We're doing Vibe Coding Session 101. Workers, application, storage, media, connection, application, security, CloudFlare tunnels. Okay, let me just do it quickly. So if you go to create tunnels under dashboard, CloudFlare 1 on network connection, create a tunnel. So it's here. Okay, so SnapSuite. So it's under Zero Trust. Yeah, they've changed the URL, so it's all over the place now. That's what's getting me confused. So I can do, I got to pull this off screen for a second here. Okay, get started. So we want to secure with DNS filter, Zero Trust free, securely access private web apps without agent. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, okay. So here, and I got to keep some of this stuff offline because it's obviously connected to my real home country. So here, so this is CloudFlare tunnels. Let me just back up for a bit and just show you where it is. So it's under Zero Trust. And if you come in here, you have this option here, securely access web apps without an agent. Okay, so provide hassle-free per resource access to your private access. Maybe that's not the one that I want. Let me just double check here. So replace my client-based site, secure my web application with advanced threat, secure my network. I don't know why I'm struggling with this today. They've changed a couple things in here that's getting me confused. That's why. So private web app, connect to a private web app with client access to internal services with your self-hosted. Yeah, I think this is it. This is it. Enable in-browser remote desktop. So I think this is the one that I'm looking for. So sign in, CloudFlare, then your internal application. Yes. Okay, now I'm not going to be able to set it up. What I was saying, what I was basically going to do is going to try to just do this locally, but that's okay. We're going to push the CloudFlare first, and then we're going to go from there and then go forward. Go to my YouTube, guys, if you want to know what's going on. So let's see if our vibe coding is finished. Yes, it has been, and we need to get this webhook secret. That's right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this. We're going to click on. So the 2 ones that we care about is session completed, or subscription created. Let's just see. Maps to a customer subscription created, and there's 2 of them that we care about. So it's either subscription created or checkout session completed, transaction related, right? So we care about that and do this step. So actually the best thing to do is just to send an email, but let's just do the webhook. No, HTTP. Come on. Suggested action, invoice. They've changed stuff here. Tools. When this happens, no condition. Done. Do this step. Add an action. Where is my webhook? Update payment intent. Advance. Okay, what am I looking at here? Create test webhook. Create test workflow. Test workflow. I don't want to do workflow. I just want to do a webhook. Hang on a second. Let's just do this. GPT. Stripe. Where do I set up a Stripe webhook? Event trigger webhook after payment. So basically, yes, payment succeed. That's the one that we're looking for. So can you give me the URL to be able to, after subscription is successfully registered for recurrent payment, where do I create the webhook? I know I can't find it. I'm all over the place today. That's why. Stripe dashboard, developer webhook, add endpoints. That's what we're looking for. Stripe dashboard, I'm on the products. Everything is just all over the place. Yeah, okay, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, this tab at the bottom here. Sorry, this is all new to me. The interface is definitely changed. Okay, so we're trying to get to this developer tab here, and then we're trying to get to webhooks. That's what I was looking for. I was clicking on workflow. I was trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Okay, add destination, right? This is what we're looking for. Your account, okay, and version, and then select all. So basically, we're trying to figure out, let's back up for a bit here, just to make sure everybody's on the same page here. What we're trying to do is hook events. So we're trying to basically get this webhook here. Payment, not payment link created. Payment created. What am I missing? Refresh. Why is it not even finding payment? What? Okay, that's so weird. Payment is like literally right there. It's not even finding it. Okay, webhooks. Add a webhook. So Stripe, trigger. Okay. Start by selecting which event you want to listen to. All right. Your account. Receive events from resources. Yes. Let's just do all events. We'll just keep this simple for today. Okay. Select all events. Okay. Large number of events. Fine. Let's go down to billion. No. Let's go down to and no. Where the hell is it? I'm going crazy today. Hang on 1 second here. Let's go back to GPT. After my user signs up for my subscription, which are the events that I need to trigger on? What are the names? Checkout. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we care about these ones. Checkout completed. And let's just double check. There's one more. We care about checkout subscription, customer subscription deleted. Those are the two that we care about. Okay. We're just going to do deleted. So what's the difference? The checkout one is whenever the payment is completed, because some credit cards, they might have multiple different transactions that you might have to go through, all kinds of verifications, all that kind of stuff. So the truth is you only care whenever that the payment is completed. And then the other one that you care about is if it's the subscription is deleted, which means the subscription was canceled because then you need to revoke access in your platform. Okay. So those are the two that we're going to do for today because it's just keep things a little bit simple. So we're going to go checkout completed. Let's do checkout failed as well too, just so at least I have something this way I can at least know that it's working. Customer subscription created. Right, customer subscription deleted. So customer and then subscription. Let's go with updated and deleted. Okay, no, that's the wrong one. Subscription deleted, this guy, okay? Yeah, let's go with that. Okay, now let's continue. Webhook endpoint. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to this and then we're gonna have to put in the URL here. Let's do it this way. Let's go to this. And let's do a deployment first of all. Let's do this. What am I doing here? Can you do a deployment to CloudFlare and then give me the URL that is going to be my webhook URL so I could put it for Stripe? Super small group today. By the way, happy Halloween. If you guys celebrate Halloween, I'll jump into Halloween. Give me 1 second. It's Friday, so everybody's like all over the place. So let's see, set up webhook secret. Oh yes, okay. So we got to do this secret thing. So we're gonna do it on the application level database. Because I don't want to just do things on the command line for you guys. We need to go to CloudFlare and we need that secret, which I don't know where to get it from. The interface is all changed on me. So let's go to CloudFlare workers and pages. We're gonna go to our database application. We're gonna go to settings. We're going to go to variables and secrets. We're going to click add and we could name it as a secret. We're going to put this one here as our Flare webhook secret. And then we need to go get that in CloudFlare. And the truth is, I'm just going to ask ChatGPT because this interface is all, so we need to get this here. But before we do that, actually, no, we don't need to do that. Let's just get the URL first. This will ensure that all the URL. So what is the URL? So the URL is this here. Copy. There we go. Endpoint URL. Okay. HTTP. So obviously our worker. /API /webhook /Stripe. This is the destination that will process all API events from my application, from my Stripe processing application. Okay, and that's a vibe CODIN 101 endpoint. Okay, so again, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page because I'm jumping around a little bit here, right? Stripe processing page, we're going to check out. When that checkout happen, basically that's going to trigger a Stripe after payment, and then that's going to trigger a webhook. Okay, that webhook is what we just put in, which is on obviously our side, and then we're going to do the KV pair in a bit. So do here, create destination. Bam. Okay. And the good news is it's showing me exactly, right, which ones are successful, which ones are fail. Oh, here's a secret. Fantastic. Secret is right here, right? So we got our destination ID and we have our secret right here. So I click on show. This is a test, right? So we could show that that's okay. And then we're going to go back to CloudFlare and we're going to paste that in here. Click on save and that should be it. So we should be able to at least bare minimum, if we come into the logs here, metrics, and then live, okay? We should see a request inside of here. And how do we know? Because we could go down to our local application, freshness. No, it's not running. Let me check in some of this code so I don't lose everything. Come on. Okay, commit, sync. And then what we're going to do is we're going to load our webhook here. So basically, can you run my front end? Yeah, all right. So what should happen if we got this all set up correctly? Okay, is we're going to click on sign up. We're just going to fill out some random information because it's not going to go anywhere for now. That should take us over to Stripe. Stripe will basically allow us to process the credit card. And then we should see a webhook hit our CloudFlare service. And assuming that actually happens, then we should be okay. There's 5 people in here on my YouTube, on my TikTok. If you guys are looking at this here, go to my YouTube and you'll be able to live see. We're doing vibe code at 101. So vibe code 101. I don't know how to use TikTok. This is my first time. Where's my other one? Okay, hopefully, let me see. The deployment is happening, so we're just waiting. Okay, so with that, so pricing page. Yes, it's so localhost / pricing. Click on get started. Okay, that's fine. It just jumped me over to the tests right away. I wanted it to take me to the other page to do the sign up thing. I think it actually removed that code, but we'll deal with that later on. Payments, so autofill. Now, of course, more options. Turn off last pass for this site. Turn off for this site. Yes. Turn off. Yes. Okay, so let's go back with there again. So we click on this, we click on that, and then we just do 42. This is the standard Visa credit card. That's just a fake credit card. Number 4242424242424242. There we go. And then you could put any month, so 09, and any valid year, right? So 26. And then you could put any CCV number. This is just standard testing stuff that you just know over time. And then you put in the full card name. So we're going to put in Dwayne on finish. By the way, the only reason I normally do Dwayne Unfinished is because it's my other channel that I haven't been posting much of lately on. And then we're going to do Dwayne Unfinished plus 002 at gmail.com. Okay, so assuming that this is okay, we're going to click on subscribe, and Stripe should say, yes, you are processed correctly, and we should see a webhook on the other one. Okay, so we did this. Thanks for subscribing. And let's go to, where is it? Let's go to our CloudFlare, and we see, bam, transaction in CloudFlare. Look at that. Okay, go to my YouTube tries. There we go. So we got one transaction from here. We got a webhook, and let's just see what we got inside of there. Okay, we got headers. We got the, what are we looking for here? We're looking for this, we're looking for, where is it? We're looking for a couple of things. We're looking for the customer ID. So this is the account provided. Where is it? Come on. Country. We're missing information here. My Stripe webhook is being called correctly. However, I'm not seeing any customer ID information. Can you review this and let me know what I'm missing? Because I want to be able to tie back my user that I sent over to Stripe with Stripe's user so that we have a reference between the two. Okay, so now that we have the webhook working, the things that we need to really be thinking about is if we have a user in our system and we send them over to Stripe, Stripe needs to know who that user is. Now, Stripe might create that user, and then Stripe will give us an ID, and we need to keep that ID together, in this case, in our KV, so that we know where to send them to deal with to manage their account or cancel or all that kind of stuff, right? So that ID is super important, that client reference, right? So let's just see what it's suggesting here. Because I think, so looking at your webhook, I can see that the webhook is being called, but the issue is that the Stripe payment link does not actually pass a customer metadata, right? And that's because we never sent it over. Right, so when a customer completes a Stripe payment link checkout, Stripe creates a new customer, but doesn't have any reference to your application user. Right, so solution number one, use a successful URL in the client ID reference. So update your Stripe payment link to include a client reference ID parameter that you can pass over to the URL. So that's one way of doing it, right? And then let's create a better solution. Since you're using Stripe payment link, we need to modify our approach to capture user information, pass it to Stripe. Yeah, okay, so this is where there's, like I said, there's multiple ways to address this problem. Let's pretend, because there's two different users. Let's pretend for a second that they came to your website, you're not, so we're not logged in. Let's go with not logged in. Let me see, refresh. Oh, of course. Okay, hang on. I can't run it right now because it's, actually I can't. Let me just open up another terminal and run it. Let's just open up another terminal and npm run dev. Okay, so let's pretend for a second that this was a brand new user that came to your website for the very first time. When they come to your website, the first thing that's going to happen is they browse around, they're interested in whatever, and they're like, okay, yeah, you know what? I want to sign up with this person. So they're going to click on this link here. When they do that, we have not collected any information from them. So essentially what's happening is we're forcing Stripe to be the person to collect this information, which is not the right thing to do, right? Ideally, what we want to do is we want to capture the information on our end first. We want to store it locally, and then we want to pass that over to Stripe, give them the reference ID, so in other words, the user ID, over to Stripe and say, hey, Stripe, can you process the payment for this particular person? And whenever you finish with that payment, can you send me back a webhook? But when you send the when you send over the hook, make sure you send me the customer ID that I sent to you. In this way, I can then update my information. So that's the key, right? If you don't do that, then you have this sort of hodgepodge system where you have two different disconnected things, where you have somebody paid, but you don't know who paid kind of situation, okay? When a user signs up. Yes, okay. So let's see. Let me just see what it's actually doing here first. You can get them to sign up with Auth0. Okay, so let's just say that you did the Auth0 route. Is the sign out working or the sign out is not working? With the Auth0 route, the second option is you set them to sign up with Auth0. You click on sign up. Auth0 will basically do the registration for you. Auth0 will then put that information back in our system. And then when that happens, when the user tries to log in, you send them over to Stripe, right? There's kind of multiple ways to deal with this. But I want to try to see if we could do it, which would be the preferred user way, right? We got enough time. We're at 3 o'clock right now. We got an hour. We could push on this a little bit more. So what we could do is I want to take the information in on my website, right? I don't even want to send it to Auth0, okay? Because I don't care. Like the password is, let's put it this way. Getting the user a login is the least of my worries. What I care about is I want the information first of all, right? Somebody comes to my website and they enter the username and password, enter a name, phone number. I want the information right away. So even if their credit card fails, I have that information. That's number one. Number two is, let's say that they just stopped within that process of signing up or whatever. I can still send them an email, marketing, all that type of stuff, right? So that's the reason why it makes sense for me to do it this way. Capture the information first and then do it. Make sure that the home page for my front end is the corporate homepage, first of all. When I click on sign up or get started, it's going to take me to the pricing page. When I click on get started for the pricing, it's going to take me to a form. When I click on that form, what I want to be able to do is register the user in my application first, which means going to my backend and doing the KV store first. And then from there, we're going to basically use that to send them over to Stripe. When the webhook gets called, we should have that user ID in the reference so that we could then update the reference, my KV store that the application that the user has paid. Also in that process, we'll need to register the user in Auth0, okay? Go to my YouTube, guys. If you're on TikTok, go to my YouTube. And you'll see what we're doing. We're vibe coding a application in the live. This is my first time on TikTok, so I don't really know what's going on over there. Okay, so what are we going to do? So we're going to take our user. User's going to come to our website first. They're going to basically choose a plan. So they're going to choose either plan 1 or they're going to choose plan 2. Either way, doesn't matter. They're going to be sent to a form, okay? We're going to collect their information first. So we're going to be the ones to collect that information. When they submit the form, it's going to go to our backend, which is basically our CloudFlare, our worker, W-O-R-K-E-R. So we're going to go to the worker. What is the worker going to do? The worker is going to save the information right away into our KV, key value pair, right? It's going to store it in our CloudFlare KV storage. Great. Now that we have that, then the next thing it's going to do is going to do 3 separate things at once. It's going to register the user in Auth0, okay? So it's going to register the user in Auth0. Auth0 will send back an ID, okay? Then it's going to then redirect the user now to Stripe. Stripe will go off and do its thing by doing the processing of the credit card, etc. And then Stripe will call back to my application, right, in a webhook. So obviously it's going to call a different URL, but right now it's the same thing. So Stripe is going to call back to my webhook. My webhook now will go, but it's going to pass the ID because we're going to pass. That's the key word here. We're going to pass the ID to Stripe, okay? Stripe is going to send back that ID to us. Then we're going to go look up that KV. And then once we do that, we're going to go update the KV. And we're going to say, yes, you're authorized to actually start uploading videos, etc. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to have some kind of flag on this KV that allow us to be able to keep track of whether this person paid or not. And in the event that they cancel, that's why we wanted to do the cancel event as well. If the subscription gets deleted, when we get an update, we're going to update the user so that we know that this user is being blocked so that we don't give them access to the application. Okay, clear as day. Fantastic. Good. Here's my paper. Boop, boop, boop. So let's see what's going on here. Missed the live, but rewatching. See how you got set up. Hey man, welcome. Thanks for joining in. All good. By the way, I should mention that while we're doing this, if you guys haven't already, since you just joined T-Zone, do put what you're working on in the school. I think you joined the school. I don't remember if you did, but if you haven't, join the school. right? And when you join, put what you're working on. Go into the school community, go to the classroom, sorry, the community, go to the start here, and Vibe Code 2 Accelerator, drop inside of this chat what you're working on, and then please do book a call with me so that we could talk a little bit more one-on-one. Same thing for you, Redmond, same thing for you, all you guys. Book a call with me so I really want to learn specifically what you're working on so I could tailor stuff very specifically for you. It's only 18 people inside of here, and frankly, I don't even care if more people join. What I care about is giving you guys as much value as I possibly can for the very, very small group of people that are jumping in and hanging with me on a Friday afternoon. Yeah. Background. Can I do a background? I don't even, man, I'm telling you, man, TikTok is like a whole game by itself. So yeah. Anyway, we'll ignore TikTok. But how are we doing here? Okay, so let's see what we got. Hopefully you guys have gotten understanding what I'm doing. Complete year update registration flow is live. So let's see. I've restructured the entire sign-up process flow to register users in your backend before sending them to Stripe. Perfect. Homepage redirects to landing, corporate landing page. Fantastic. We got a pricing page. We got a choose your plan page. We're going to look at that in a sec. And then we got submit form, register user, the KB there first. Perfect. With payment status pending. So that's the keyword, right? We have them status pending as pending first. And then we're going to redirect them. We're going to use the user ID as a client ID. Fantastic. And then we're going to go to Stripe Webhook, update user existing to active. So this is after the user comes back from Stripe, right? So whenever they get over to Stripe, when they come back over to here, we're going to go back and update our record to active, right? And what else are we missing? We're missing something here. We haven't registered the user with, before sending the user over to Stripe, we need to register them with Auth0. So create an Auth0 service so that we could register the user with Auth0, and we're going to give them a temporary password, or let it send out a temporary password, or we're going to force them to create a password. So yeah, I'll create a register service. Yes, fantastic. Okay, great. So exactly what we just said. We need the Auth0 part to work properly as well too. So let's see if we can actually get to the home page while it's doing it. So every time we come to the website for the very first time, if the user is now logged in, now see here, it's not actually working correctly because it's still saying that I'm logged in here. And my logout is not working. So we're going to need that to work properly. So we got to go fix that. I don't know if you go to my YouTube channel. We're on YouTube. We're on YouTube live with 3 people watching. Vibe Coding 101, guys. That's what we're doing on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. Okay, I think we got something here. Let's see if it's actually, okay, so just generate them. In the meantime, let's just talk about a couple things. Let's talk about my community because I really I'm trying to get this community going. I'll be honest with you guys, it's a struggle to, first of all, motivate people. We got 18 people in the community right now and no engagement. And what I really want to do with this community, let me log out here, just at least have something visual on the page to show. But what I really want to do with the community is have a me/school. What I really want to do with the community is treat it more like an accountability group. Right? You can find this information online. Let's just be real about it. What I'm showing here is nothing new. It's nothing creative. It's nothing like you can find this information. Oh, that's cool. Somebody did book live. But yes, book. I'm happy that, I don't know if it's somebody on the live, but if it is, thank you. So what I really want to do is build a community in a way where it's an accountability group. Okay. What do I mean by that? If you're an entrepreneur, it's a very lonely road. And this is talking from experience. Okay. It's really hard if you're an entrepreneur to just stay focused. I struggle with this. I've struggled with this. Okay, I wake up every day and I'm like, what am I doing today? What's my focus? Okay, that's number one. Number two is when you have your days where things are just not going right, aka yesterday. I'll tell you about that in a bit. You need people around you that can help be your support just to get you through those hard times. And that's really what this group is about for me. I've been a solo founder for so long that I don't know any single thing else. But what I've recognized is the struggles that I've been going through personally. There's just tons of other people that are struggling like that. So half of it is you learning how to code, but let's be real, you guys are smart people. I looked at every single one of you guys that are on my YouTube and I'm like, man, these people are smart. They're smart. They know stuff that I don't know for sure. And so I was like, these guys could go learn this stuff any single way. So what is the thing that I can provide? And the thing that I can provide is a community and the accountability and holding you on like guardrails so that you could move forward and be productive. And then when you're going through your hard times, just check in. Like literally just be like, hey man, like I'm really struggling with this. What do you think my options are? Sometimes just having somebody to just talk through your problems is all you need, right? Sometimes you don't even need a solution. You just need somebody to just talk to about it. So that's what this group is about. And I'm hoping, here's my hope. My hope is that it will get to a place where every day people are checking in and saying what their wins are, what their losses are, what the things that they've made progress on. And we could share the wins for the week, we could share the losses for the week, and we could go on. Microsoft's global network was down. CloudFlare was still up though. But hey, let me not talk too soon, because last week was AWS, this week it was Azure. Maybe next week it'll be CloudFlare. Let me not say too much about that, because right now all the clouds seem to be going down at will. However, we had an outage. I say we as in like my startup. We had an outage before Azure, and I won't go into all the details because there's some stuff we're still working through right now. But we had an outage. And I was so devastated in the morning hours. I was like, man, I gotta go tell these clients about this outage and the problems that we're having. And I just didn't want to do it, because when you have that feeling that you just know somebody losing trust in you, this was one of those cases. And I was like, even though I know it's not really our fault, it is our fault. And it was just weighing on me very heavily to have a conversation with the client to tell them that we messed up your service, okay? So that was happening. And then at the exact same time we were doing that, when I logged into my Azure was down. So the problem that we had turned out to be another big problem, and Azure entire went down. And it wasn't just like a regional outage, it was like down. Like the thing that they guarantee 100% uptime went down. So the whole thing was down, like emails, the whole 9 yards, right? I was like, is this the universe saying thank you or what? Because I was so thankful for the fact that Azure had an outage, and it was all over the news and every single thing else, because it just made our outage, it just swallowed it up. And I'm being real with you guys. I just talked about the fact that the outage, yes, as you guys know, we had an outage yesterday. Microsoft had some problems, etc. I just buried our outage. I still talk about our problem, but I buried it in the Azure outage because they were related in some capacity. And in some way, I felt like I was saved. I didn't have to, like the customer, like I didn't lose trust in me because it wasn't my problem alone. Azure had a problem also. It was a massive outage indeed. But my point is that when you get days like that, like having somebody else to talk to about it matters. And that's the reason why this group is important to me. It's accountability, but it's also talking to other entrepreneurs that are trying to build stuff. It's giving back to all the people. There's so many people that helped me along the way, and for me, this is giving back to them. And last but not least, it's also making money. I want to be real with that, right? We're not here just for fun. We're here for the code. The group is literally called Vibe Code to Profit. Okay, so it's all about making money, and I want to make more money, and I want to help people make more money along with me. Period. That's the mission, okay? There's a reason why we're doing this in public, literally coding in public. One is I'm giving it away. I've mentioned that before. But more importantly is I'm trying to build a real life product, no to-do application here, so that we can actually learn real skills, all right? And not like thing. Anyway, that's my preaching for the day. Welcome back, Rahul. So what do we have? Let's go back to our code here. Zero ID. That's fantastic. Hang on a second. This thing made a mistake. Make sure that our ID is independent of the Auth0 ID, and also ensure that we have a place for the Stripe customer ID also, right? It's missing some information. We want to keep our ID independent. We want to keep Auth0 ID independent in the case that we switch authentication provider, and we want to keep the Stripe ID independent also. So those are the things that we want to do. Make sure that's proper. I should get my other phone to see what I actually look like. I'm curious. TK, go find me on TikTok. Who's on TikTok? Put a one in the chat if you're on TikTok on YouTube.
So I'm the prettiest girl you've ever dated.
Sorry. I'm just curious. TikTok is interesting. TWAI, and I'm gonna find me on TikTok. BNBROWNE. All right, we're doing this while our live stream is happening. So log in with Carter Brown. My goodness. Okay, I'm just waiting on some code. Okay, let me just ask you a question about your current startup. I got 6 people inside of here. Who has their MVP page set up for their app? In other words, you got a web page that has your startup. Like you got something that looks like this, right? Who here on the YouTube, the 6 people that are here, do you have a landing page for your startup, whatever it is that you're building, your Vibe code in? I'm curious. While you do that, I'm just going to put in this code in here. TikTok verification code is 718. 336. So me, okay, one person, got it. So let me see how this is going. So it's reverse. YouTube. So QZone, okay, you got a one as well too. Okay, that's cool. That's good. And can you, now, you guys are both not in the US, is that correct? Put a 1 if you're in the US, put a 0 if you're not in the US. 1 if you're in the US, 0 if you're not in the US. And how do I'm telling you, man, TikTok is like a whole lot of thing by itself. How do you flip the camera? Oh, there you go. I swear, TikTok is like a whole thing by itself. Mirror, don't mirror. So if you do that, and then you do this now, does that make it work? Yeah, there we go. YouTube.com, Dwayne Brown, 405 Coding 101. There we go. Okay, at least we learned one thing on YouTube today. So you guys go on my YouTube, and we're doing Vibe Coding 101. All right, so Canada, Kansas. Okay, so we got 2 Americans inside of here. So you're good. T-Zone and Kansas City, you're good as well too. So none of you have to worry about this. Only Ramon is on the thing. We were talking, just so you know, we were talking about, actually we should mention, because you guys came a little bit late, we were talking about Stripe Atlas. So if you want to know more about that, go watch my video about that. How about set up an incorporation in Delaware. That's how we started out the conversation. And it was really just, if you don't have an actual company set up, Stripe Atlas is like the easiest way to just get all the paperwork out of the door, set the company up, and then it's going to run. So you can start accepting credit cards. And then we talked about Brex. The bank, Brex, this is the bank that is pretty solid, for at least for online. Any single thing in the modern space, this is a really good bank right now. So those two, could go back and watch the earlier video, but yeah. Okay, good. Let's see how our code is doing here. So let's see what we got. So ID, yes, we got a user ID, we got an Auth0 ID, we got a Stripe ID, we got a first name, payment status active. Then we're going to update background index deployed already. Fantastic. How 3 IDs work. Okay, we got one more thing that we need to do here, which is this log. Right now I'm showing as logged in. Let me just send it. So let's do the screenshot. Yeah. So right now, if you go to the home page or the landing page, I'm seeing the login option. I shouldn't be seeing login. And if I'm already logged in, then you'll basically just redirect me to the actual video management portal. But if I'm logged out, I should be going to the login page, the logout to the home page. Do put a login where if you're logged out, put a sign in button up at the top right hand corner. So at least we got that going. Fantastic. Yeah, okay, so is this Simon? So Simon, Mr. Kansas City, we'll call you. Book a call with me. I mentioned that before, but I'm just repeating myself here. Book a call with me. I really want to know what you guys are working on. And like I said, so you can figure out how we can help you guys more. And then same thing for you, Mr. QZone. Book a call with me, and then we're going to sit down and we'll work through all the details together. Perfect. Okay, so we got our thing here. Sorry, guys, you gotta excuse me today because, like I said, I'm experimenting with TikTok. So I got it live going, and I see people jump in. So every time I see somebody jump in, I basically tell them to go to my YouTube so they know what's going on because they have no idea. Just a bunch of random people joining my YouTube and they're like, who is this guy? Okay, moving forward. Let's see. Do we have everything done now? Nope, still working. Okay, so we got a sign in button. Why is my sign in not working? Okay, let's just tell it. I don't know why my sign in is not working. No, that's what's happening. Because once you start seeing this summarizing history, clear the chat. Unless you really desperately need stuff. But you know what you should do? Just go back, take the last set of context, and then just do your own sort of compression. This is, yeah, I find it's take up a whole bunch of tokens just doing all of this stuff. I tend to just kill it whenever it's doing this. Then let me update the landing page so also redirect, also logged in. All right. Go to my YouTube. 5 people in my TikTok. So funny. I literally don't know how to use TikTok in any single way. So it's just so funny. All right. We got a little bit of code here. And we're going to stop this summarization. And then we're going to create a new tab. And then let's just go back to this. We're going to say whenever we click on the sign in button, nothing happens. We click on get started. That's fine. But if I click on get started here, it takes me over to Stripe. It shouldn't. It should create a form. So we got to fix those two. So whenever I click on the sign in button, nothing happens. Also, if I go to the pricing page and I click on get started, it takes me over to Stripe right away. It shouldn't do that. It should take me over to the form where I could collect the information from the user first. So that when I click on submit, it goes over to Auth0. It creates a user in Auth0, and then it takes me over to the Stripe stuff after it's already created my profile in my KV pair. So those are the 3 things that we got to do. So just to make sure that everybody's on the same page, we're going to come to the website for the very first time, log in, bam. It's going to send us right now. It's just redirecting us to our landing page. We can watch a video. We're going to click on get started, instead of it going to this, it's going to take us to a form that we control. So we're not going to depend on Stripe to be able to process our payment. We're going to take that information first. Once we take that information in, then we're going to basically go to, once we take that information in, then we're going to create an ID in our internal system first. Then we're going to basically, in the backend, back channel, call out Auth0, create the user in Auth0, get their ID, and then we're going to send them over to Stripe so they could continue doing the payment part of things, right? So even if let's pretend that Stripe failed and they come in and they try to click on sign in, we should still be able to sign them in and then prompt them to go back and make a payment. That's the reason why we're doing it this way. So hopefully that makes some sense. Server is up. TikTok stream is faster than YouTube. It's 30 seconds in delay. You can share your screen on YouTube. Yeah, the live in TikTok, you can share screen like YouTube. You can. It's just that there's a whole TikTok studio software that you have to have. And I think you can do like Ecamm can stream to TikTok. I just haven't gotten that far. So all I've been doing is just experimenting. And that's the reason why I just have it up there, because I literally don't know what I'm doing on TikTok. Okay, there we go. So sign in is working. That's fantastic. And we got our yearly. Oh, we still didn't get this fixed, but okay, that's fine. So we're going to click on get started here. Okay, so we got to fix that next. So to test, go to your thing, click on getting started, and either plan you should be taken to the form or the pre-plan. So let me kill this. And I'm just going to go in incognito. So let's just rerun that again. And just for the sake of it, let's go into incognito. And then we do localhost. Right. So it's prompted me to sign in, so that I don't want to do that. So let's go fix that too. So right now, if I'm logged out and my session is cleared and I go to the home page, it's taken me to the login page. It shouldn't do that. It should take me to the index page. So let's just do this. Index page should be the home page. So let's rework it right away so that the index page is the actual home page of the website. In other words, landing page should be index page. And then we're going to move the uploader and the video platform to a different location. And sign in should only happen when I click on that top right-hand button to get me to the sign in. In other words, don't redirect me to the login page if I'm visiting the website for the very first time, right? Yeah, we don't want an experience anymore. We just want to log in it all together. Oh yeah, okay. We got 2 people that booked a call with me. Fantastic. That's good. I'm happy that you guys are doing that, because that's the important thing, right? I want you guys to book a call with me. And since you guys are here, like I said, the whole goal of the group is an accountability group, right? So that we could, one is I can learn from you guys what is it that you're building, so I can help you out, specifically you, not like the internet, like you. That's number 1. And 2, so I could fast track whatever you're building. Like my goal is to just accelerate the speed of it, right? And then, hey, I'm going to even make it more fun, where if you guys, I just thought about this literally as I'm telling you, I'm going to make it more fun for you guys, okay? Look at this. This is how you build community, and this is how you think. So every week, where are we? Let's go to our vibe coding thing. No, school. Okay, login. So if you guys interact in the community, there's a leaderboard. The person with the most interaction, which might be me, let's say the person with the second most high interaction, I'm going to be the one to build your application. So in other words, each week, whoever it is, each week, I'm happy to take on parts of your application and just build it out for you in the open or not in the open. Doesn't really matter. Point is, you get free developer sort of skill set. If you engage in the community every single week, I will dedicate at least 3 hours of my time, 3-4 hours of my time to helping you build your application for free. Just want to be clear with that. No strings attached, no nothing. That'll encourage 2 things. Number 1 is for you guys to start posting in the community, because that's what we're about here, right? And then number 2 is competition, because we care about competition. But yeah, that's where we go. Look at this. Isn't that crazy? We have people like zooming out. We got to zoom out. Anyway, look at this. We got people in all around the world. Look at this. US, UK, Guatemala, Puerto Rico. We got, where is that? We got Germany. We got France. Look at that, guys. Israel. We got India. We got South Africa. We got people in here trying to be entrepreneurs, building, and we're going to build together. So if you haven't joined, join the community. Whoever is on top on this leaderboard for interaction, because the way how school works is if you interact, it moves you up in the rankings. So whoever likes your post and all that kind of stuff, when you share your experience, share what you're doing, right? Again, I'm looking for daily interaction here, right? I want to build a community where it's like we check in daily. Even if you got nothing to check in about, you just say, hey, I got nothing done today. That's cool. just let us know. I'm going to put 2 more boards. I'm going to put a win board and I'm going to put a losses because that's the important one, right? So that you could share your wins and your losses. Super important, okay? Because every win matters. That's the important thing here. Every single win matters, but every loss that you want to share also matters. Why? Because other people might be going through the same thing, right? Like I was just dreading having to go tell my clients, hey, we had an outage and we messed up, because we had another problem that kind of got buried in Azure's problem, right? Yeah. And hey, I'm getting caught up with the chat. Thank you. You're awesome. Thanks so much for this. How do I join, please? So to join, you got to click on at the top there. See, it says dwayne.me/school. You just click on that link and then just join. So here, go to dwayne.me/SKOOL. You just click on that link and that'll take you to my page, my school community page, and then you join. And I got tutorials and stuff like that coming inside of there. Oh, England, not Germany. Yes, England, not Germany. You're right. Sorry. I'm messing every single thing up today. Okay, let's see where we're at with this vibe code then. So where are we at? Okay, let's count divs, blah, blah, blah. We had some kind of silly build issues. All right, this is the beauty about AI. I can talk to you guys and we know that we're getting work done. Isn't that cool? Listen, for the people that had to, I will absolutely accept you for sure, 100%. I just gotta, I think I don't want to do it on the live stream because everybody will see your email address and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, no, listen, thank you for joining. So that will make us, I think, actually, you know what? Here, let me pull it off screen and then I'll get you right away inside of there. Join the group, log in. So that will put us to 19 members in the group. 19 in the group. Okay, fantastic. Developer, freedom from 9 to 5. Fantastic. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. So we're at 19. Okay, we got one more. We're going to get to 20. And then we're going to lock the group down. And then we're going to go from there. But yeah, no, listen, like I said, that's what the goal of the group is for. Accountability, sharing things, and then I'm going to help you build out your application. I'm going to provide so much value. You guys will be like, why is this guy giving away this stuff for free? That's what I want. If you don't feel what you're going to question, it's like, why is this guy giving all this stuff for free? What is his purpose? Okay, let's see what we got here. To price. Oh my goodness, really? Got a missing thing here. Is it a problem? Let me just go to localhost, see if we actually got a problem. Yeah. Our vibe code and the page got messed up. We got some issues with our page. Can you please re-evaluate it and fix the issues? Bam. Okay. So yeah, what else we got to do? Make sure that we got all our pieces here. Zoom out. Okay, so just to check off, let me just make sure we got our list. Let me just go back to our list here, make sure that we're not missing any single thing. Control-Shift-B and just go back to my checklist here, make sure that we don't miss anything. What do we have? What are we looking at? Where's my Gamma slide? Did I miss that? Okay, so here's what we did so far, just to round things up. So we talked about corporate account. We got that out of the way. We did the data model. We talked about that. We got a Stripe dashboard. We created 2 products inside of there. Got that out of the way. We did a front end checkout flow. So we can get our webhook from Stripe. So we got our Stripe after the user successfully makes a payment. We're going to get our webhook back inside of here. So we got that going. And then we're going to use that to then update our data. And billing portal, interesting. Manage billing button for owners. Okay, fair enough. We could do that. And then robust check-in. Just so you know what I'm doing, I literally just got a checklist on ChatGPT. Just a lot of things I wanted to cover. Just so you guys know, it's nothing fancy. So this is probably the only one that we could tackle off. We could definitely get this done, assuming that there's no more build errors or whatever, so that the customer can go and update their plan if needed. Did you fix the div problem? Refresh. What's going on here? Is it not? Let me just stop it and run it again. Might be just a weird thing. Control C, npm run dev. Still getting build issues. Let's do a new chat. Paste that in. Tell it to go fix our problems. 7 watching. Yeah, so we did. Well, let's coming in. So like I said, guys, one thing I want to cover. This is something I won't cover on YouTube for sure. But one of the things that I want to cover in my school, I'm going back to school while we're waiting on vibe coding again, is investors. Okay. I have a template that I'm going to try to structure for you guys around how do you actually raise money? Like, how do you deal with your TAM? If you don't know what that means, total addressable market, right? This is something that it's TAM, total. This is something that's really important concept. If you're going to vibe code an app, and you need to sell it to somebody, this is a concept that you need to know about, right? It's called TAM, total addressable market. And what it is, it's how do you figure out whether the industry has essentially money for you. Like your TAM is like, if you had held 100% of the market share, how big the market would be. So I remember in the early days when I was trying to build my app and I was talking to brand new investors. Back then, I don't even think we made $5K a month. We were like very entry level. I was talking to investors about how to build my app and what I'm doing in what are cases. And they would sit there and they would just be thinking. And then they'd be like, okay, based on what you're telling me, it sounds like I think you could get to $1 billion. $1 billion. I'm sitting there and I'm like, it'd be nice if I could get to 20K a month or 30K a month. And they're telling me based on what you're telling me, I think its TAM is about $1 billion. They were only looking for companies that could get to $1 billion in revenue. And I was like, listen, I appreciate that you have that much confidence that I could get to $1 billion, but right now we're just trying to get to 20K, right? Or 30K a month. And so I had to really rethink like what I was doing as a business. And that's when I started learning about TAM, total addressable market. And you have to have a big enough TAM so that when you build something, there's enough users in the market so that you could find a segment of users that will just gravitate towards you and your early product. Because you got to think about it, right? You won't have all the bells and whistles. You just won't have all the bells and whistles and all the features. So that means that you're going to have to like something about you or something unique about the product that you're solving that your competitors are not. And so it's really important to understand this stuff and think about this as a thing. And that's why this community is so important to me, because it's like vibe code to profit. There's no point in learning how to build an app if you don't know how to like turn it into actual money, right? And we're going to talk about that. We're going to also talk about sales. So I was going at sales, right? Like I said, I have a startup. It's a sales platform and it's all about lead generation and all that kind of stuff. And that's the key, right? That's the key. So let's start from little and achieve more as progress. Success is not the end. It's a milestone. Let's go. Hey man, all the way, 100%. Let's go. We're all about women around here. And for my random people on TikTok, if you really want to know what I'm doing, we're doing Vibe Coding 101. Go to my YouTube channel and you'll see me there talking about this stuff. Okay, is this thing finished? Do we have an app that's working? Let's see. I have a feeling that it's messing up more. This is where Vibe Coding just starts to go to crap. Hey, look at this. Let's see what we got here. So I have a feeling that we're going into more chaotic land here. npm run dev. Let's see. Okay, all right. No problems. Great. No problems. Fantastic. Okay, let's see if it actually works. Refresh. Fantastic. Great. We got to sign in. We got to get it started. Look at that. Sign in. Oh, what? Really? Come on, man. Come on, man. Look at this. Look at this. Am I going crazy? Let me just do this in a new window and see. Sign in. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that was just browser behaving. All right. So sign in is great. That's fine. And getting started. Take us here. So that's fine. Click on getting started. Perfect. Look at that. All right. So let's do this again. So we want to go to Dwayne unfinished D plus 003. By the way, if you want to know where the unfinished name from is from my other YouTube channel, it's called Dwayne Unfinished. gml.com. More for like non-coders and productivity stuff. Nothing to do with. So let's just go with John Smith. Why not? MITH. Everybody needs a John Smith in their application. And let's go with VIBE CODINJ Inc. And it's asking me for password too. Okay, fine, sure, whatever. We'll give you a password. We're going to accept our terms and condition. We're going to proceed to payment. All right, so just so we know what's happening, we should be able to go into Auth0 and we should be able to see Auth0. Let me just log in here. And what we should be able to see is we should see the logs in Auth0 for that particular account. Just want to make sure that it's not logged into my main account first. So switch to tenant and Vibe Coding 101. Yes, so in here, we could go to monitor and logs. Close this, close this. So 2024, what was that? What time is that? 7 days ago. Fantastic. Okay, let's see if this thing is working. Close this now. Go back to, where's my incognito tab? Oh my goodness. I struggle with windowing on Mac. I really do. I swear. It's the one thing where I just wish I could have Windows for. Okay, great. So we got this. We're going to click on continue to payment. And really, you're going to give me this? Okay, that's fine. We're going to get rid of that. That's it. That's all you're going to give me. So let's go see if there's any single thing happening in the logs. Lord. Okay, let's go back to here. When I clicked on the continue to payment, all I saw was this alert box. I didn't see any single log in my auth0, and I don't know if a user was created or anything. So this is, see here, it literally didn't do anything because it should have at least observed. We should have seen at least another request happening inside of here. So nothing happened. If you want to know what's going on, we're doing vibe coding 101 here on YouTube. So go to my YouTube, you'll see what we're doing. We got to do a whole crash course on TikTok. It's crazy. Okay, so where are we? Let's see here. Wrangler secret list. Let me check out your secret. So what's actually happening? So the 500 indicates that the backend worker is failing. Let me check the logs, registration, endpoint, diagnosis. Let me check endpoint to see what might be failing. So register user. One result, register user. Let me check out zeros are implemented, see if the issue. Your secret actually set. The secret command seems to be stuck. Good, I can see that your secret, fantastic. Found problem, you only have our secret set, but you're missing the domain and client. Am I? I don't think I am. Got it. So we have to add, oh, interesting. I didn't realize I didn't do that. Okay, so auth0, we got to go back to auth0 for a second here. So for the auth0 client, we got to go back in here, click on this guy, click on application, vibe coding, and we got to copy this client secret here. Bring that back in here. We're going to paste that. I'm going to change it to secret. It's not really a secret, but it's fine. But it's a secret. And what's the other one? Domain. Okay, so we're going to go back in here, click on that, click on just text. It's fine, and then we go back here, and then we're gonna click on, oh, if I just click on the application, it'll give it to me. This guy, domain, fantastic. Okay, I manually added the domain and the secret and the client ID, so test again and let me know if there's any issues. All right, so we're just basically just wrapping up some stuff with zero. That do now clear grant type credentials not allowed. Okay, meaning your application is not configured for machine to machine. So regular web suites. Yes, I remember this. So we had to go to auth0 application and then video API platform application type machine to machine. Because what we're basically doing is we're back challenge. Just keep this in mind. What we're doing. Let me just make sure everybody's following. So when the user hits the registration form, right, and fills in their details, that's going to hit our worker, and our worker is going to go call out to auth0. Auth0 needs to know that you are authorized to be able to create users in their platform. And when they do that, you need to give you're technically connecting to auth0 as an application. So in auth0, you need to tell it, hey man, that you need to tell auth0, you need to give it permission. You need to give auth0 permission to be able to create users, like you be able to create users in the system, right? That's basically what we're doing. Where is it? Here, in an application, and I think it's, where is it? auth0 dashboard, applications, application, find your vibe coded app. We're already in applications here, vibe coded app, and then I think it's, I'm forgetting where it is. Find your application and then applications tab. Wait, what? Verify type. So go to dashboard, applications, and then application. Find your vibe coded application, check. Then you want to do application type should be machine to machine. If it's a regular web app or anything else, you need to create a new machine to machine app, right? So that's what we need to do, right? So we're going to have to say new application, and we're going to make it machine to machine application, and then we're going to say vibe coding registration backend, right? So at least we know what it is, right? Because we basically what we're telling Cloud thing to do, and then it's going to use this API. We're going to be able to create, we want to be able to do all the thing. Maybe not delete users. I'm giving it way too much permissions. I want to be clear with this, okay? This is way too many permissions, but let me just, we're just going to do, really and truly, you just need read, create, delete, update, and delete. Right, create users and whatever else, but I'm just checking all everybody else off. Okay, so you want to do lease permissions, just to be clear, lease permissions. So client ID, client secret. Okay, so I have this already. So I created a new application, and here is the creator credentials, client ID and secret. Right, perfect. I can see your in secret. So it's going to echo. It's going to update the domain, and it's going to update the secret. So all it's doing is just changing the secrets inside of here, just so you guys are aware. Fantastic. Okay, so now we can test the registration. So this test user, perfect, good. So if we go to auth0, we should see a new user. in the user registration, user section, and test user, right? So key value store is empty, which means that the production worker might be using a different key value binding. Let's see if there's an issue. Fill out details, click on continue payment. Where should it redirect to Stripe user? So what are we doing here? So key value storage issue is minor. Okay, preview binding. Go to the form, sign up, continue, and you should see the redirect to your redirector is Stripe. Okay, fantastic. Okay, let's try it again. So now if we come back in here, I'm just going to just fill out the form as it is and then see what happens. So click on continue. Okay, so that looks like it worked correctly. Dwayne unfinished 003. So let's go to auth0, refresh. Where are you at, bro? 002. No, that's none of it. Oh, here we go. There we go. Bam. My bam was delayed there. Sorry, I had a delayed bam. So there. So we got John finished 003. So that's our new user that was created in auth0. And now Stripe is waiting for payment. So we're going to click on that. We're going to basically put in our credit card here. So our credit card is 424242. This is a Visa card. So you need to put in a valid 28 and any CCV number. So a valid expiration date and the thing. And then card holder name is John Smith. And we're in Canada, so sure. Subscribe. Okay, while that's coming through, what we should be doing is we should be seeing in CloudFlare observable a new registration. There we go. Look at this. We're cooking, guys. We're cooking. Yeah, did I get that right? Or is there, let's see. We're missing something here. No, we're not done. We're not done. Let's just see. Because I didn't see I should have seen a webhook from Stripe. This is not the webhook. This is our webhook. Unless it's not showing the right thing. Let me refresh it and see. Might just be a delay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, delayed. That's how we do it around here, my guys. And look at that. 355. For once in our life, we're actually like on time and on budget. Look at that. Okay. How do we know that this is working? We have to go confirm in our database that we have to Stripe the customer ID. So here, so we have this account ID, but I actually don't know. I thought you could see just a Stripe ID in here, but for some reason I'm not seeing it. So I just want to just fact check that. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our key worker key. We're going to go to our Stripe, this one. We're going to go to our key value pair. We're going to go look for our user, which should be the last one. Which one is it? View. Dwayne unfinished 003. Yeah, that's us. I'm going to copy that. We're going to go to JSON format this bad boy. Click on process. And then let's just see what we got in here. Look at that. User registration, done. auth0, done. Stripe, customer ID, done. Dwayne Brown, monthly, active, payment status, complete. So now with this payment status, all we want to do is check that payment status to ensure that the user paid. If the user did not pay, we could force them back to do Stripe. So we're going to create a new page to monitor the user if they didn't pay based on this property, i.e. if it's not active. Create a new page that's going to say, please complete your Stripe subscription. And then we're going to show that page and allow them to click on that button to upgrade their subscription back to Stripe. In other words, don't give them access to the uploader application profile unless they're active. Their payment status is active. Bam, right? So yeah, we're going to use that payment status to make sure that the user is okay and they're active and the thing, right? Now, obviously, you got to put a little bit more backend checks, right? Because it's possible that the user could maybe change their flag in the UI and stuff like that. So you got to do some tests on the back end, make sure that the front end, whatever. But we got the basics here, right? This is vibe coding 101. This is not vibe coding advanced. So that's important, all right? Followers, Patrick, and all right. So hopefully that makes some sense for you guys. Okay, so we're going to get this going, and then we're going to deploy this whole thing, and then we're going to test the whole thing, and then we're done. And then next week we're going to start fresh again. We're going to do a few things a little more different. Well, this series took 4 weeks to do. What are we in? Week 3 or week 4? Yeah, 4 weeks. Okay, so if we had to build this entire application from end to end, how many hours is that? Geez, I can't even do the math in my head. What's going on with me? 3, 4 is 12, right? 12 hours. So you could call it a day, but maybe 2 days. Computer, stop. So 2 days, right? 2 out 8 hour shift, if you will, just to clean things up. So we went from absolutely nothing, and in 12 hours, we had a full vibe coded application. So we're living up to our vibe code to profit, guys. I just want to highlight that. And by we, the AI, okay? Just to be clear. I'm just here trying to orchestrate AI workloads, okay? Dwayne, if you haven't gotten the message, join the community because we're gonna go hard in here. But my point is, In 12 hours, we went from absolutely nothing, came up with an application, vibe coded the entire thing, and literally integrated Stripe payments, authentication, real authentication, and an uploader to R2 cloud storage, and the whole 9 yards. And now I'm going to deploy it, and we're going to test the whole thing together and make sure that it all works. Because now with a little bit more work, a little bit more tweak on the marketing, like we could start actually getting people to sign up for this entire thing. If you were not a developer before, most of you guys are developers, so you know this because you know the pain. But if you weren't a developer before, like this level of speed to build something from 100% from scratch all the way to authentication and payments and sign up and be able to give it out to a user, come on, man. So the limitation here is not the code. The limitation is how do you actually build a real company around this that you could promote? And that's where this community comes in, because we can get rid of all of the grunt work, the code, just the grinding of building an application, all the technical stuff. We could shove it to the side and we could focus on the business so we could like make actual profit. That's why you need to join the community. So yeah, we've done a job. So ready to test. Where is my URL? Okay, what's the URL? Give me the URL to go for my live application. I'm so lazy, I don't even want to go into CloudFlare and look at the URL. No, yeah, okay. 5 code platform pages. So let's see. See if it's actually live. Look at that. We're at 403 and we're actually done. Look at that. Can I log out? Oh, my logout doesn't work. Hang on a second. You know what? Let me just double check that it's actually the right live thing. This is not the latest. This is not the latest code. Can you ensure that the deployment is run for the front end and get the latest code up there? I'm still seeing the old application. Yeah, okay. So full sign up actually deployed. I want to make sure that we actually deploy it. That's what I want to do in this video. So at least we could say for 100% certainty. Because just to be clear, I want to be clear with this. When I come off this live stream, I do not ever look at this application. Like I don't even, just to give you an understanding of how much I do not prepare for these calls, 10 minutes before is when I open up this application to try and remember where we left off to continue. There's no prep work here. No, like we're actually, what you see here, the challenges, the list, the issues, whatever pace you see me working at, that's it. There's nothing behind it. So just letting you guys know, I got nothing up my sleeves, even though I don't even have sleeves. Yeah. Okay, so we're deployed here. We'll see if this actually works. If not, that's okay. That's cool. Like we've made some significant progress. And to my 3 people that's in my talk, that's still hanging out there for some strange random reason, we're on YouTube. Okay. I don't know how to use TikTok. I'm just on TikTok, just so you know. But yeah, go to my YouTube and like my page or click on my bio or something of the sort. Guys, this has been another pleasure, another good session with you. This Wrangler thing is being deployed. It should be okay. It should have gone up. Hopefully it got deployed. Let's see. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to do, just for the sake of completing this entire thing, do or die, whether it fails or not, doesn't really matter. We're going to try to sign up as an actual user. So we're going to go to here and then we're going to go here. And next week, I'll talk about next week in a bit. So let's just go. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to sign up for the $29 a month package. And we're going to go Dwayne on finish plus 004 at Dwayne. And then let's go with Michael Smith. Sure. And then we're going to say he's in Smith's Inc. See. Okay. I'm going to give myself a password. Copy. I agree to the terms and condition. Click on continue. Oh, really? Didn't deploy my backend. In production, I'm getting this on my backend. When I try to submit the payment, I'm getting this. 500. I checked the backend logs, registration endpoint, see what the error is, worker, is it logs? Okay, it might just be a deploy thing. Let's see. Let's find out. In either case, this is a success by any stretch of the imagination. The logs are now streaming. Can you try submitting again? Let me see. The secret, yes. So I see the odds here, domain secrets are missing in production. What? Oh, okay. Got you. Okay. Understood. It's missing. I understand. It's missing on this application here. Yes. Okay. That's fine. Ready to test again. Drive secret is now being set. Taken. Okay. Fair enough. Let's try it again. Continue the payments. Stripe. Fantastic. Dwayne on finish. 42424242424242. Then we're gonna go to 09. Oops. 0826. What did we name ourselves? Michael. ICHAEL We're in Canada. Click on subscribe. And bam. Okay. Paid. Okay. Now, there's only one other thing I'm just going to test for the sake of testing. Do in unfinished. Yeah, okay. I didn't keep the login. Let's do a forget password. Do in unfinished plus 004 login, continue. And then let's go to sign in, continue. Let's see. Okay, come on. Here we go. Reset your password. Sure, because we never tested any of this stuff anyway. So yeah, it's not bad. And then let's do a generate. Copy this time. New password, reset. Fantastic. So that's Dwayne plus 004 at gmail.com. Add. Okay. Password change. So now what I want to do is I want to test what happens if I go to the website. I click on sign in. I click on sign in here. We're going to do Dwayne unfinish. Therefore, this guy, we're going to log in. So now I'm going to, okay, it logs in, but it doesn't actually, okay, see, it didn't actually take me to the actual video section, but I'm logged in, so that's fine, okay? So that's working. We got a little bit of navigation issue, that's fine, okay? But here's what I want to do very quickly. This is the last thing I'm testing, and then we're going to just close this off, which is, what happens if I manually go into Key, refresh this guy, and I edit it to not make it active, right? I'm going to make it into Dwayne unfinished 004. This guy, I'm going to click on edit. Oops, cancel. I want to make it into, oh, okay. Manage subscription change, upgrade on it. That's a good question, Ramon. It's a really good question. I'll show you that in a sec. So where are we? Hang on, where's the user? Oh, it's not in alphabetical order, so it's driving me nuts. I can't see. Therefore, this one here. This one, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just manually change from the status from active to pending. Can I not edit it? I can't type in here. What's going on? Okay, there we go. I want to change the subscription status from active to pending. Okay. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want to test how my application actually behaves if the user, for whatever reason, I signed up the user, they log into my application, but payment didn't go through. That's basically what I'm trying to test here. So if I refresh this and I click on this here, it didn't do it. Oh, we got some session kind of things that's going on here. Yeah, we got some weird session stuff that's going on here. It's losing the session. For some reason, whenever I log into the application and I navigate to browse videos, it loses its session. Also, if I'm logged in, it should automatically take me to the browse session page. And for some reason, I'm also seeing like a duplicate header. Can we just get rid of that? And if I'm logged in, make sure that we're showing the profile up at the top in the header. Make it a single component. Make sure it's consistent across the entire header for the application. Okay, let me answer your question specifically, Ramon. Yeah, maybe next week. It's basically just a link, right? There's links that you can now link into Stripe. There's links that you can link into Stripe altogether. And in the actual, oh my goodness, I got to log into Stripe and all this kind of stuff. But the bottom line is there's some links that you can link to Stripe to just trigger those events, right? The keyword here is there's a couple of links that you could do. Maybe we should do that a little bit of user management because now we got a multi-tenant. So maybe what we should do next week, I'm thinking about this live. We'll do some other stuff next week as well too, but wrap this up a little bit more, put a bow in it, is just address the multi-tenancy part of it because now you have an application where one user is logged in, but you might want to add users under the same profile, right? So that's probably the thing that we should probably talk about. And then Stripe has some ways that you could do metered billing and that kind of deal. We won't go into too much details on that, but definitely getting those users underneath the profile might be the way to go. So hopefully you guys got some value from it. It's 4:15 at this particular point. It's Halloween today. And as a result of that, I promised my kid we're going to go trick-or-treating. Yeah, we're going to go trick-or-treating. It's windy and it's cold. It's damp outside. So we'll hopefully try to get that out the way. I got a 2-year-old kid, so 3 years. So we're going to go try to do some stuff. But with that, you guys have yourself a wonderful weekend. Hopefully you got some value out of this. And for my random set of TikTok people, I promise you next week we're going to do this a little bit better. For all my true fans, I appreciate you, Ramon, and my new user, Epi, I think it is. I'm just butchering every single name in the face of the planet. But in either way, I appreciate you guys. If you're late and you missed out, go back and watch the previous video. And all of these stuff is going to be in the community, by the way. So you can go back and watch them at any time. And if you have any specific questions, put them down in the video. Go into the community and actually just put them down. Because the video, let me just do that right away. So I could show you, just so you know where it's going to be. So the video is going to be in the community section under the vibe coding tab. And you're going to see it here. And then you could just basically, if you got questions, you could just put some comments specifically on that video and then we could talk about it. Or you could do it on YouTube as well too. It doesn't really matter. So with that, you guys have yourself a wonderful weekend and I'll see you guys next week. And next week, we're going to do something brand new. I don't know what that is yet. We're going to do something brand new and we're going to try to go faster because we got a lot of the pieces now. So the goal is every single time we build a new application, we should go significantly faster. And like I said, I'm going to template all these code up so that we can build a proper template so that you guys could use it and reuse the pieces that you need. So have yourself a wonderful weekend, guys. Talk soon. I will see you in another video. Bye.